Welcome back, my little recusants, to another episode of our Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster HD 100% guide. We have made it to the final area in the game. We've ended up in the Flying Fortress, which is the last new location on the map. So once we arrive here, we will get that achievement. There are 33 chests to find, as well as one other collectible. I'm not entirely sure if the adamantite counts as a chest. It might not. But we are going to be adding a bunch of creatures to the bestiary. The Earth Medusa being one of them. And you'll see here the jingle there. For whatever reason, the trophy was a bit delayed on my Steam. But we did end up getting the trophy for conquesting all across the world map, or after getting to every location that can be visited in the game. And as I say, number 70, we're going to be waiting a bit for that. But we're now going to be collecting, enemies from the Sky Fortress area. That's going to basically be getting us 113 down to like 120 or so. There are a good few enemies as well from previous areas that can 100% get us more bestiary entries. I will preempt the questions here. So we have Death Knights as well. We have Dark Knights and now Death Knights. But to say that you are going to be in the Flying Fortress for a long time is an understatement. There is a rare spawn of Mech, and it only spawns in this area and in one floor of this area that is going to have to be walked up and down for a long time. To the point where I actually managed to cut 37 minutes of, encounter spawning until we ended up getting Mech to spawn. Mech is considered the very first secret boss of the Final Fantasy series because it is the hardest enemy in the entire game. It's one of the few enemies that spawn completely on its own and offer that level of challenge. So Mech being the first secret boss, you'd say, oh well, that's pretty cool, he's a tough fight. He is, if it wasn't for the fact that he still followed basic enemy statistics, which is where, like all enemies in the game, some enemies can flee. And so if Mech flees before you defeat him, he will not be added to the bestiary. And considering how rare of a spawn Mech is, we do not want him to flee. Now, spoiler, he didn't flee for me. We did defeat him. It was grand. But the really sad thing is that, like, if you Google Mech and it's like, oh, like finding Mech, some people get him within like 3 encounters. Some people spend 3 hours looking for the encounter and just don't get him. So, yeah, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a pain. But well worth it in the end, because we end up grinding about 20 extra levels in our 40-minute hunt for Mech. But as I say, collecting all the treasures on floor 1, we now get the stone golems as part of the bestiary as well. So another entry there. And essentially this area is kind of like a snowflake. There's like, different areas there, all of them containing a treasure chest or a treasure. So again, just letting you see the different enemies, but then cutting the battles, because for the most part, they're just copies of creatures that we've already collected. So, Earth Medusa, Evil Eye, Death Knights, and Nightmares. So, we're not doing too bad. For the most part, we're getting Gil, which is useless because we've maxed out our Gil. But if we were having, the Warrior, and if we were having the Black Mage, we would probably have way more to collect in terms of spells and equipment. But right now, we're kind of using the best equipment that we're collecting from these treasure chests. But with the Manticore now added to our bestiary as well, that's another good encounter. Good different encounter. And you'll notice in this room there's a gigantic lump of ore. This is adamantite. And I'm going to say it now. This creates a weapon. And this creates a weapon that gets us a trophy. And I forget to go and create that weapon. And in my big excitement to like finish the bestiary, roll the credits, when I'm recording this, we have actually finished the series. I have gotten all the trophies. But my sad reality was, oh, I completed the end boss. I'm going to get the platinum. And then I realized, oh, I'm actually not, because I didn't forge the sword from the adamantite, which made me super upset. I was very much wanting the credits to roll and the platinum to pop and being like, yep, that's the series, thanks guys. And then I stupidly ended up having to like load the game again and be like, hi, sorry, yeah, we're gonna just run over here and talk to this character and forge the ultimate weapon, quote unquote. Now, I think statistic wise, it's not really the ultimate weapon. But, yeah. As I think there are stronger weapons for, let's say, the warrior class, etc. But, like, it is a very, very powerful weapon. 1000%, you know? And, yeah, that just was my mistake. But at least you know that the series is completed. You can watch the end of the playlist and collect every single achievement in the game, which is great. And as I say, with the accessory of ribbon, we really do want to make sure that Orvain has a ribbon, because he's our strongest damage dealer, and basically we want him to not suffer from dark or any other negative status that could throw him off his game. But as I say, I'm basically like, right, we're just getting the same enemies here. We still have like another ton of 15 treasure chests still to go. But once we finish this one, we just have the final batch of treasure chests left to go, which is great. Which are found in the Chaos Shrine. But there's a little trick to the Chaos Shrine, because, and look, I won't spoil it, but we're basically going to be going to a different version of the Chaos Shrine once all the crystals are restored, which is quite interesting. And I still have to laugh at the fact that, like, we're getting ultimate tier weapons, adamantite, other collectibles like that, and then you also see, oh, do you want a potion? Absolutely mad. That sort of carry on. But yeah, just literally encounters off if you want to literally just scoot around the map, finding the little doors, and in those doors are going to be treasure chests. There's nothing really, really out of the way in FF1. It's just taking the time to check the map, check the world map, and just find the treasure chests. Now, from what I've heard, the other Final Fantasies do have more missable treasure chests. So I might have to be a bit more cautious in delving through every single area. But with that, we have our Flying Fortress maxed out. We just have to head to the Chaos Shrine to collect all of our treasure chests and we'll be done. But looking through the window of the world, we can see the 4 forces of fire, earth, wind, and water, and the 4 altars are being pulled towards the Chaos Shrine. So we get a really cool global image of the world, and we can actually see that our crystals, like, we're generating light from our crystals to give back to them, but now all that energy that we've restored is being poured back towards the Chaos Shrine. Really, really curious. And I love that, where the game is like, oh, we have these little pads that we can give you hints on the next boss, and it's just like, yeah, no, Tiamat, no weakness. No matter what you research, what you look into, Tiamat has no weaknesses. But I would say he does have a weakness, and that weakness is going to be Orvain's fist. Punching the final boss to death. Because here I was, not realizing his full potential. But getting to Flying Fortress Floor 4, this is just a big, massive grid that loops over on itself, and you basically just have to find that one other teleporter. So you go over 2 and run straight up, you'll run into the other teleporter that leads us to the Bridge of Doom. You might have heard of the Bridge of Khazad-dûm in Lord of the Rings. This is the Bridge of Hope's Doom, because here is the only place where we can find and fight War Mech. Literally this stretch of bridge. But we do end up finding a new enemy. We get air elementals, we get spirit nagas, we end up getting the Dark Warrior as well. So some really, really good enemy encounters to get ourselves some levels, collect more bestiary options, getting ourselves closer and closer to level 60. And believe me, oh yeah, Mind Flayers. That was another one from like a much earlier on cave. But we can find them here on the bridge. And with the whole party taking the bridge by storm, getting ourselves some lovely encounters. We do end up with Black Flons, which are a bit of a pain. But just showing you guys, okay, we're going down along, we're collecting all the different enemies. We've gotten the Mind Flayer added at number 70, and now we're going all the way down to like 78, which is a couple of desert encounters and so on. So yeah, we're not doing too bad enemy wise, and we're all the way down to well over 100. There's now there's just over 20 enemies to go, but you know that War Mech is one, Fire Hydra is another. So with Fire Hydra's defeat, we have another addition to the bestiary. When we end up fighting Tiamat, that's going to be another. So let's go fight him now. We haven't found War Mech, but he ends up saying the Lich and all the other 3 fiends, they've all been defeated. I am a beast of the sky and the heavens. You will never defeat me. Muhahaha. All the better. May the image of Tiamat be the last thing you see. Now, there is a really, really sick design, in fairness. Like, look at it. It's fucking deadly. And we're going to use Haste with Hema, or Temper with Hema. I can't remember which one. But as you can see, 470. Absolutely crazy damage. Thanks to the ribbons, our mages are taking less damage. Well enough for our white mage to be able to heal up more than the damage it's giving. We're going to use Haste and we're going to use Temper on our lovely monk to make him absolutely One Punch Man. But what I'm also going to do is we're going to go to our ninja and teach him Temper. So that way in one turn, Hema can apply Haste and our ninja can apply Temper. And then we have Orvane fully maxed out, doing max numbers of hits, as well as damage boost to each hit. So, you know, it's going to be bloody brilliant, because he's nearly doing 1,000 damage, and that's even before we get our massive level spike from hunting down War Mech. But we're going to quickly do a nice AoE heal. We're after giving him Haste now, as well as Temper. We're going to endure the Ice Storm. Not a bother to us. And with another massive punch, doing over 1,500 damage, Tiamat is defeated. Added to the bestiary, but not only that, we get the achievement for restoring the Wind Crystal to life. So once you get that achievement, that's another great thing got. Total thumbnail moment right now. With all 4 crystals restored, we're able to return now to the Chaos Shrine to face the final boss and reach the final dungeon. So with that diddling, we end up getting our lovely achievement. Absolutely brilliant. We fight more dark fighters. And as we keep running up and down, after 36 to 37 minutes, we find War Mech. We're instantly ambushed and one shot. And as you can see from our HPs, we're after getting tons of levels. But this is why the spell we got in Lufinia is 100% worth it. We now absolutely do a walloping with Orvane, but a nice full life from Serena fully restores our red mage. He can now give a temper or a haste to our monk, and so long as it doesn't flee, we should be grand. With temper applied now, we should see an absolute butt ton of damage. War Mech is defeated. An absolute boat ton, what word am I trying to say? And at level 80, 79, we end up getting War Mech defeated. We're going to immediately quick save so nothing bad happens. We have him logged in the bestiary. Absolutely brilliant. And, you know, we're nearly up to 10 hours now, but we do have War Mech added. There's just a couple of other enemies on the lower floor, on floor 4 of the Sky Fortress, that will need to get sorted. So yeah, we're nearly there. 20 more to go. So that's not too many, especially when so many of these last couple of enemies are final bosses, basically. We're going to be going into a final boss rush. So at least 5 of them, and would you look, here we go. The Guardian and the Soldier, both 2 new enemies we need to add to the bestiary. They're not difficult at all compared to War Mech, and we're now so high level that we're into the 90 or into the 80s nearly. So we're absolutely grand for levels. And as I say, yeah, Soldier is there. There's just one more before the Dark Fighter that we'll need to get done, as well as going back to collect a couple of things just in the later 70s, I should say. But yeah, so much of this game is like, okay, let me compare the list of the bestiary to like what's here and what I need to collect. So yeah, what I will promise again, because I promised it before, I was like, yes, I need to basically have the bestiary list here, and then as I'm going through the game, I can have you guys promised that in these areas we are going to be getting everything, you know, as we go. So we have Vampire Lords. We had our vampires becoming a regular, you know, just normal enemy. And now we have an even more powerful version of vampire as an enemy right here, right now. So Histing, I got caught between cresting and hitting. So Histing, level 80 with our characters. We keep on just hunting for the Medusa and the Rakshasa. So we get the 2 of them in one combat, as is the norm. It seems like if you're missing 2 creatures, they were probably in a general encounter with the 2 of them together. And now that we have that sorted, done and dusted, we can leave the high skies and return to the Mirage Tower through the teleporter, because we do actually have some enemies that are still unique to the Mirage Tower. So beating the blue dragon once again, that was like a static enemy, so like we know that guy, we know his business. We get some hellhounds. I have a feeling hellhounds were already added, but I mean, if you're looking for them, they're here too. I think that's another massive problem, is that like there are probably rarer enemies in certain areas, and yet they become more common in other areas. So, and yet there's other ones that are totally unique to certain areas. So again, just trying to hunt for missing bestiary enemies. I believe we're looking for the Wyvern, or yeah, the Wyvern. I think it's a dragon enemy anyway. So we're just making our way back out of the Mirage Tower just to hopefully run into the enemy we're hunting for. And no more than War Mech. It's like sometimes you just gotta be here and wait till they're all finished up with before you can move on, you know? Again, the Chimera, we fought him elsewhere, I believe. Getting by the little robots. Super, super easy. And as you can see, Haymat and the whole gang, they basically have max HP. When it comes out to the Great Desert, we do have the Desert Barchetta. Sounds like bruschetta. I don't know, maybe I'm just hungry. But there is an enemy we're going to have to hunt back for in a second. So again, getting closer and closer to level 90, guys. We're just cutting out so much fluff of us just hunting for enemies. But Phelan-Dill hits the HP cap of 999. And at the moment, I'm basically like, right, what enemies do we need to find? What enemies are we hunting for? And basically around Lufinia, which, like, in hindsight, I could have just, when I got the language of Lufinia, I could have hunted for the enemies then. And, like, it just comes down to, yeah, realistically, around a town, around a new zone, around a new dungeon, just walk around, fight some enemies, and just make sure, you know, you've done about 10 battles in each new area, because you're more than likely going to run into an enemy that you haven't met before. Now, we end up with, like, wolves and hill gigases, and eventually we find the wyvern, the dragoon that we need to defeat. And then over by Orthanc, or not Orthanc, Onrak. Orthanc's in Lord of the Rings. But over by Onrak, we are able to find another dragon. But just taking our time to be in, you know, the desert, we can hunt down and make sure we're not missing anything. Are we finished up to number 80? We're not. We've the Wyvern and the Worm. And the Worm can be found in the desert. No, the Worm can be found by Onrak. But we do end up getting the Allosaurus, the massive T-Rex looking guy. We have him added from the Great Desert. There's also another T-Rex. So, like, there's a blue T-Rex and another big T-Rex as well. So, the Tyrannosaur. Absolutely deadly. Getting all of Jurassic Park right now. So, with that, we have another beast added to the bestiary. We literally have 8 more to go, guys. And one of the, like, there's also enemies to be found within the dungeon itself. So number 79 is the Worm, and the Worm is found by Onrak. So we need to fly over to Onrak over here, get into a fight. We will be finding Ochus, that's fair enough. But we'll also find the Worm, the orange version of the blue dragons that we fought over by the desert. And with all of that done, guys, we basically have every enemy found before the final dungeon. Next episode, we're going to be going to the final dungeon, beating the final boss, and then we're going to have the game finished. Please leave me a comment if you would like me to literally take the time to go through and look at each enemy, where it can be found. Just have a video of, here's the full bestiary. And that way, if you're looking for something, you know, oh, I can click on Recusen's video here and find what I'm looking for. What do you guys think? Do you want it? Do you need it? I'm not sure. But that's been me. Hope you have a good day, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.